There's two ways to look at Week 12. There's your traditional Thanksgiving games, right? Lions and the Cowboys hosting their Thanksgiving games. That's the traditional games. Then you've got the Bills and the Saints and these not so traditional but becoming traditional third night game of your Thanksgiving triple header, born out of NFL Network years ago. You're welcome. To all those people who don't want to talk to their relatives all day long, you're welcome. We were there for you. NBC says we'll take it, and all of us on NFL Network saying thank you to NBC for doing that, so we can hang out and ignore our families and watch television too. I mean, that's when we want to work it, when we can just be like everybody else. But long story short, I digress. It's the first time since all three games existed on one day for Thanksgiving, and which is an awful way to say first time since they created that triple header with NFL Network spearing the way to do that. That all six teams coming into the three games coming off a loss. That's never happened before, and it's happened this time, and now the Saints are ridiculously banged up. It looks like Kamara and Ingram might be out. They might be missing not one but two offensive linemen. They're already missing their tight end. We already know Jameis Winston is out. My gosh. And here come the Bills limping in. So there's all that. And the Cowboys. Yeah, there's that too. But there's Sunday. There's Sunday, folks. And this Sunday is a special, special Sunday because there are 9 games between teams 500 or better. The most such games in Week 12 or later since at least 1970. How about them apples? Woo. 9 games where everybody is 500 or better coming into the games. And we do, believe it or not, have a couple of them coming up on Thanksgiving, even though everybody's losing coming in. But you've got yourself a big-time game coming up on Sunday over and over and over again. The Titans and the Patriots. I cannot stress this enough. That game needs to be tied to the Sunday night game, Browns and Ravens. The Titans and the Patriots, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. That game is huge because the Patriots, as we know, have not lost since starting 2-4. They've gone 2-4 and now 5-0. They're 7-4, and that 5-game win streak has them in first place in the AFC East. And if they beat the Titans, who turned it over 4 times to the Texans last week in a quintessential trap game, they fell in the trap. If the Patriots win that game and the Browns then beat the Ravens on Sunday night, the Patriots emerge from Thanksgiving week as your 1 seed in the AFC at 8-4 with 5 more games to go. They will be going into the final 5 games of this longest regular season ever for them, because they have a bye as well in the middle of all that, to rest up. They are in the catbird seat position. Come on. Who'd have thought that coming? And you want to talk about the Browns beating the Ravens. That is entirely possible today. I don't know if this means they're going to play, but we'll see how that plays out over the next 3 hours. Today, Jack Conklin on the Browns offensive line and Kareem Hunt were both designated to return to practice. If Kareem Hunt goes with Chubb and Conklin helps protect the banged-up Baker Mayfield, they're ready to go. They're ready to go damn near almost full strength. Lamar Jackson's returning to practice, though, today. As we know, he was not healthy enough to go in Chicago, even though he took the flight with the team, all balled up in his seat, so sick he didn't know that the plane had landed. And so that is a huge Sunday night game in conjunction with that early window game. And while that early window game is going on in New England, Tom Brady is in Indianapolis, where the Colts are red hot and on fire. And the Colts are now making a push for the playoffs. And the Colts may have the hottest player in all of the NFL in Jonathan Taylor running the football, coming off a 5-touchdown game against one of the best run defenses this league has seen put on a field over the last couple of seasons. How huge is that? And as that's going on, in Cincinnati, the Pittsburgh Steelers are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in a huge game in the AFC North prior to the night being finished up by the other AFC North battle. And that division has a team in the Browns having fallen into last place despite being 6-5 and having won last week. And they're the ones who are absolutely dealing with a huge to-do with their fan base, freaking out about Baker Mayfield. There's a full freak out going on for so many people. And I'm trying to let everyone understand, just take a beat. Let's see what happens Sunday night, everyone. Certainly if Hunt and Conklin could possibly return Sunday night. Then you've got late window games in the NFC. Come on now. Rams coming off of their bye week, having sat on a 2-game losing streak. Von Miller, you get him, you lose to the Titans. Odell Beckham, you get him on and unwrap him on the same day Robert Woods goes down in practice. Then you lose to the 49ers, getting hit in the mouth twice by a very physical team in Tennessee and San Francisco. And now here comes Green Bay coming off their loss against Minnesota. And the Rams need to win this football game. And so do the Packers, folks. So do the Packers. I mean, you could say maybe not, maybe not for the division. Okay. But certainly if you want to start making hay, you were the 1 seed coming into last week. Okay. And Rodgers is banged up. His blind side is not protected by Elton Jenkins and certainly not Bakhtiari anytime soon. And here comes Von Miller. Or will the Packers just do what they've done against an NFC West opponent, is go ahead and beat them? Go ahead and beat them. Remember, they went into San Francisco and beat them without Jenkins. Didn't matter. Remember, they went into Arizona, right? They go into Arizona and beat them. Devontae Adams being out. Beat him. Maybe they do it again against the Rams. And then the aforementioned 49ers are at home against the Vikings. 2 teams at 5-5. The winner goes to above 500, puts themselves right in the wild card spot in the NFC. And the loser goes to 5-6 and maybe watches a whole bunch of other teams passing by in the HOV lane of Week 12. Vikings coming off of that big win at home against the Packers. The 49ers having won 2 in a row and looking like the team that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago in doing so. We had Deebo Samuel on yesterday. What a terrific conversation that was. Go to our YouTube page for that, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Those are 6 games on Sunday. Of course, we're going to have our Thanksgiving appetite whetted tomorrow. But that's the situation. And if we put up the playoff pictures in the AFC and the NFC, put up whichever one comes up first on your screen there, Hoskins. I'll take whichever one. Here's the AFC. You got your 1 seed, the Tennessee Titans. As I mentioned, the Patriots have an opportunity to, at least if the Ravens win, they're 8-3, right? And if the Ravens and Titans win, then it's still 1-2 in the division, and the Patriots get knocked down a peg behind the Chiefs and potentially into the wild card spot if the Bills go ahead and win and go to 7-4. And the Patriots and Bills play next week. How great is that going to be? Mm-hmm. And then if the Patriots beat the Titans and the Browns beat the Ravens, the Patriots are in first place. And we'll see what happens with the Bills, obviously, on Thanksgiving night. The Bengals need to win in order to stay put in that 5 seed. If the Steelers win, they're 6-4-1, and the Bengals are 6-5. You could do the math right there. Colts at 6-5, Browns at 6-5. You got the Raiders in Dallas first up. And then the Broncos at 5-5, taking on a Chargers team that's sitting there at 6-4 in the 6th seed. How big is all that? Then you take a look at the NFC. No matter what happens and everything that I've just mentioned, the Arizona Cardinals are on a bye week at 9-2. They're in first place at 9-2 atop the conference, no matter what anything else happens. Because even if the Packers win 9-3, as you know, isn't as good as 9-2. And that's why the Packers need to win that game against the Rams, because, again, that might be something that comes into play for a playoff positioning and who goes where come late January. You'd rather have the Rams come back to Lambeau, I would imagine, rather than the other way around, even though Rodgers might go there and want to stay there. Certainly if it's an NFC championship game, winner stays there for the title and loser goes home. And then, they already have the tie break against the Cardinals head-to-head. The Bucs against the Colts, they're 7-3 right now. I don't think they're in any danger of somebody coming up in division and hitting them, since the Saints just appear to be so wounded, and Trevor Siemian has proven so far that he's not consistent enough over 4 quarters to be a guy that can be consistent enough as a starter from games 1 through 17, which is why he's a career backup, unless he just suddenly finds himself a style of play and a consistency level that he's never shown over a long period of time of starting in the NFL. The Cowboys at 7-3. You got objects closer than they appear as Washington takes on Seattle on Monday night, and the Eagles are taking on a Giants team that who the hell knows what that offense is going to look like with Freddie Kitchens cooking it up. Eagles at 5-6.
Kitchens cooking.
Indeed.
See what you did.
Vikings and Saints and Niners all at 5-5, but the Vikings and Saints are the ones in the wild card spot over certain tie breaks against the Niners right now. And if you notice, the Seattle Seahawks are not even on the screen. They're not even sniffing it. They are currently, in a way that I've never seen in the Pete Carroll era, that is for sure. They're currently, right now, 15th in the NFC. The only team below them are the Lions, and the Bears are right above them. That's your setup for your Thanksgiving week of football, baby. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.